I guess the word life is an art, and art is life.
Oh, I'm gonna snap. But
I mean,
yeah, no, it's true. Yeah.
Maybe you don't realize it.
Yeah. Hey, this is Jason from Nowhere Bounded. Thank you so much for tuning into this production by Podgility. Last episode, I summarized my wrap-up in Chiang Mai, Thailand. It was a layered experience with much serendipity and a time to slow down. How much needed time to begin my slowdown. Today, you'll follow me for a few days through my dynamic trip to Kuala Lumpur, Malaysia, and ultimately to Langkawi, an island no short of what people describe as paradise. Getting there was a journey in itself, and I wrapped up my travels with a conversation that sparked, well, I guess you'll just find out. As always, I want to give a huge shout out to my listeners and supporters. To name a few first names only: thank you, Michelle. Thank you, Libby. Thank you, Elena. Thank you, Anthony. Thank you to Michael. Thank you, Becky. Thank you, Al. Thank you, Marie. Thank you, George. Thank you, Sherry. Thank you, Shannon. Thank you, Chauncey. The list goes on. And I want to give a huge shout out to a few people I met along the way at different times. First, a huge shout out to Meg, who was on the same flight with me from Charlotte, North Carolina to Bangkok. And we later crossed paths at the White Temple in Chiang Rai. Good luck at UNC this year, and keep up the great work. Secondly, a huge shout out to Stephanie, Gwen, and the rest of the family. A family I saw in Chiang Mai and later in Chiang Rai. I learned they are from Ohio and are traveling throughout Southeast Asia, learning Thai and making connections. Keep up the good work, and thank you for the selfie. Lastly, thank you to all the wonderful people who I included in soundbites or conversations of Sky, Kong, Sandeep, and most recently, Oli. If you're listening, hello. You are all amazing. Thank you for sharing a slice of your incredible world with me. This is Jason from Nowhere Bounded. Enjoy the show. Much of my time in the massive city of Kuala Lumpur, which most locals just call KL, was spent in taxi transit to somewhere else. Unfortunately, I was so distracted I couldn't really even tell you what it looked like. I only caught glimpses of the renowned skyscrapers and other beautiful architecture. The significance of my experience from this place came from my predominant interactions with the world of KL and taxi rides. One of the notable conversations was with the driver who took me to the train station the morning after I arrived in Malaysia.
So what is that?
Educational technology, like that, but I'm more so like educational media. He told me that he was an aviation graduate who drove cars while he was looking for jobs. Our moment to connect would have been missed if it wasn't for the traffic jams and him eventually asking me, "Where are you from?" A question that had come up before. We spoke for a few minutes and he asked me a few questions that had not come up before. Why are you traveling alone? Do you have a family?
You're married or not yet? You're married?
Sorry, no, not married, no kids. The theme of these questions became a staple of what people wanted to know about me from there on out. This was especially pertinent since I was heading to a family or couples beach for a few days by myself. The irony. I asked him questions about his interest in aviation. He responded that he actually was more interested in stocks, but his family wanted him to study aviation. He asked me how old I was. I responded, 33. He balked. I laughed. How old are you? I said, 25. We laughed together. Yeah, I'm a bit older, I said. By this time in our conversation, he felt more comfortable and admitted that he was wanting to talk to me the whole time. I apologized for being so out of it, but thanked him for starting our conversation.
Don't be from the beginning.
Oh, got it. Yeah, sorry. I've been in my own head. Yeah.
Yeah.
By the end of our ride, we were friends. I would have trusted him to take me on a day of taxi rides with him and talk more about his dreams and hopes. Unfortunately, I had a train to book. When I looked up the best way to get from KL to Langkawi, most platforms recommended the train, then the ferry. It was cheaper than the flight and much faster in the bus route. Additionally, it was said to be such a beautiful ride that people shouldn't miss it. That's actually what I was really looking forward to. The trouble was that when I went to the online platforms to book a train, I couldn't find a ticket for any day or time in the remainder of the summer. I considered this to be either a glitch or the truth. So I knew that I was gambling trying to buy a ticket the day of. Once I got into the station, I looked for signs to point me into the closest help desk, but ended up needing to ask a security officer. The security officer pointed in a corner hallway. I looked and didn't see anything in that corner hallway. I asked if he was sure this was the place I was supposed to go. He pointed again and said yes. When I got there, one or two people were waiting in line at the help desk, so I went to the ticket kiosk machine to fix my own problem. I saw that there were actually 4 tickets available, but there was no way to click any of the seats. After a few attempts at repeating this search process for a different date, I finally went to the help desk. "How can I help you?" the attendant asked. "I'm trying to book a ticket to Allure Centaur." Attendant: "They're booked." Me: "When is the next ticket available?" Attendant: "Sunday, business class." Me: "How much is that?" The attendant gave me a number that was out of my budget, especially including the additional room fees. I proceeded to spend the next 30 or 40 minutes looking on my phone for options, and I eventually just booked a cheap room for the night and a bus ticket the next day. The taxi ride home was a silent ride. I was in my head again thinking, what was I doing? And feeling like it was probably getting very, very close to coming home. On top of the layers of pressure coming home, the logistical challenges of travel lost a part of the mysticism. I became pretty savvy on the go, but I was far from immune from the mistakes, and that's just not panning out. They take their toll. This last event gave more air to some of those suggestions to come home. Maybe it was time for me to reconsider my approach. Even so, later that night, I finished the episode I was supposed to launch and felt so connected to the creative process, podcasting as a medium, and the purpose of the trip. I even went to bed early that night and dreamt for the first time since traveling. When I went to the gym the next morning, the security guard from the night before, who helped me read the 3-digit code on my phone to access the key, greeted me with a big hello and smile. We both chuckled, and as I walked away, his friend caught on to the joke as well. They laughed at me too. So the taxi ride I called was actually my only other conversation in KL. I learned that the driver was a retired security officer who worked for over 10 years in a different country while also being away from his family. One day he decided that the sacrifice of leaving them was worth way more than the money. So he retired and reunited with his love of driving. Like the earlier driver, he asked if I was married and if I had a family. I said no, and I received another apology. I learned that he had been married for 25 years, and he and his wife were the happiest they had ever been. We talked about so much and became good enough friends at the end of our drive that we exchanged numbers. My bus ride from KL to Allure Centaur was fine. The Rose was having a coffee in a bag, and the Thorn was arriving at my room at 10 p.m. and learning that that room had been double booked. The owner was quick on the toes and let me know that there was an alternative housing arrangement at the laundromat that they also owned. It was 10 at night. My phone was on 5%, and I was trusting someone to call a taxi for me on their phone for me to go to a location 15 minutes away at a laundromat. Without many options, I took a picture of the proposed trip on the owner's phone screen and said, okay. When I arrived at the location, it was quiet. I looked up and down the shopping center block to the picture on my phone, and then up and down the shopping center block again, and to the picture on my phone again. I decided that this is actually exactly where I was supposed to be. The laundry entrance asked for no shoes, so I took my shoes off before entering, decided that I would carry them with me instead of leaving them at the entrance, and found an outlet to charge my phone, a chair to sit in, and my water to drink. Taking a down moment is actually a skill I developed in my outdoor education career. When we are in stressful moments, taking a moment to make sure we're assessing and making decisions from as much mental faculty as we can is a step that, when possible, shouldn't be overlooked. Hydration is actually one of the secrets to helping that process. Because I still didn't see anyone, I eventually sent the owner a text, then a few more because of no answer. I still didn't have an answer, and I was kind of getting a little concerned. I needed their assistance to figure out what door to go to. All the doors were locked and no one was around. About 10 to 15 minutes later, a lady opened the door behind me and looked mildly unimpressed. But, as Matthew McConaughey would say, green light. I walked down an L-shaped, dimly lit hallway to a room next to another room with the woman's family inside. I met her young son and a few other guys. None of us spoke the same language, and the apps didn't even help us translate. One of the inquiries that we did translate was about my religion. What religion are you? One of the guys eventually asked, and this was actually a significant question because one of the reasons the train tickets were all booked was because it was a Muslim holiday that weekend. It was the celebration of the beginning of the Islamic New Year. I gave a half-hearted answer. I was praying to the universe multiple times a day for the return of a lost love at that point, but I didn't specifically claim a religion outright. He was a little dissatisfied with my answer, and so he moved on. When I got into my room, I realized that the double booking error was made up by giving me one of the laundromat workers' rooms. The prep to turn that room over was most likely what took so long to let me in. Honestly, I was just so thankful I had somewhere to sleep, and so when I laid down and closed my eyes, it felt like a blink, and when I opened my eyes, it was the next morning. So when I got up, I just immediately packed my stuff, brushed my teeth, went to the bathroom, and headed to the ferry station. The app that people were supposed to use to book their tickets wasn't working for me for the last day or two. So it was just another game time decision, and fortunately the diet did pay off this time. The 2-hour ferry ride went by so fast, I just stood by the window and daydreamed while listening to some kids talk about, I really don't know. When I arrived in Langkawi, the person who I was renting from picked me up. I learned that she was originally from Switzerland and had lived there for over 12 years. It was home for her. As we drove from the ferry port through the back curvy island roads, I began to see monkeys and lush forestry. It was short of no beauty. Within a few minutes of arriving, the owner volunteered to show me the shortcut to the beach, and I immediately agreed. Once we got to the beach, I just stood there for such a long time, observing the people on the banana boats, jet skis, swimming, and just hanging out. I was actually waiting for the feeling of all my stress and sorrow to leave my body, which is an experience that I thought I would have because it was an experience that I had on my very first vacation, and this moment felt like one of those moments, but that experience never came. I eventually just sat in the shade, continued to look out at the scene, feel the breeze, listen to a mix of waves and motorbikes and laughing people, and I journaled. It's surreal. This place is what people call paradise, yet I was experiencing it with such a different mindset. I also realized that paradise is as much of an internal experience as an external one. Yes, wanderlust views and newness has always been my quest. But this was the first time I also realized that paradise alone isn't really paradise at all to me. This is definitely not everyone's experience, even the person I rented from, but my definition of paradise shifted from a MacGyver life to one in which the people I was with were actually the ones who were contributing to some of the laughs. I ended up sitting there for a few hours before walking back to shower to go back out and get food that night. When I went back out for food that night, the beach strip was alive. There were people in Transformer robot costumes dancing. There were beautiful displays of lights, and there were fire dancers on the beach. The dancers were actually the ones who caught my attention the longest, and I ended up watching them until 12 a.m. that night. I planned on going running early that morning, but it rained and stormed so hard for hours that I just had to wait. The rain actually brought a gift to me. I had my second dream since starting traveling. The next few days were just a mix of figuring out how to get home sooner than later, more journaling, running, and moments sitting at the beach. On my second to last night, I went to an amazing pizza restaurant called Tomato Pizza. Everyone, if you are visiting Langkawi, you need to go there. I was greeted by one of the owners, Oli, who I would describe as gregarious and witty. We talked for a while that night, and before I left, he agreed to have a recorded convo with me the next day for the podcast. The next day, I arrived at about 3:30. I had lunch, and we took some time warming up to each other before actually reaching an agreement to record. One of the moments that got us there was me beginning to share my vulnerability. I was there alone, and I felt like I was there alone. Our recording began with this idea and our conversation of relational love, but it also expanded to love as a source for all things in life.
One had to give way.
Yeah.
Like for me, being a Capricorn, then you have to give way.
Yeah, chill.
Yeah, because if you continue fighting, there's no point. If you want to make the relationship work.
Yep.
So at least you know the weakness and the strength. Then
no, that I 100% agree.
But if you know, then it's easy.
Easier, but not always easy.
Yeah.
I think. Well, and I don't know. You have way more experience.
But it depends on how you want to view the relationship. You want to keep it on, or you want to just don't worry about it. Right. So if you want to keep maintaining it and then be together all the time, then you just have to follow whatever the suggestion, because why give way, enough peace of mind. It's just a long haul. Okay, you're not getting younger.
Right.
Yeah.
No.
But you're going to close this and open another one.
Right. Yeah.
Right. So, I mean, at this age, you're not going to have any babies after this.
Right.
Why? He's too old.
Yeah.
Poor child.
Right.
What's the point?
Yeah.
Unless you have a big fat bank account like all the movie stars, whatever. That is okay.
That's I do not.
But when we are sure, pretty sure that we are right, we want to maintain that, because why? We don't want to say, give way because no, I'm right.
Right. Yeah.
So if I'm wrong and because you are wrong, I'm right.
Right.
If I want to agree to the wrong part of you, that means next time, then everything else will be just okay lah, you win lah.
Right.
Then what's the point?
Yeah, I know.
Yeah.
I like personally view relationships as, at least long-term hopeful relationships, is like this opportunity to really, really get to know and like trust someone, and like work as a team with someone. And so, it's so hard to get there sometimes.
But again, the characteristic of back to the Chinese horoscope, the animals, they have their own identities and characteristic and ego. Common sense.
Right.
You cannot put two roosters in one room. They'll fight, right? Same thing happens. So we avoid that. Okay. If she's in the kitchen,
right,
I don't want to make noise in the kitchen.
Right.
Because that's her domain.
Right.
So only when she's not there, then I can go in and say, hey, do da.
Right.
Okay. So that's how it is. You work around it because you want to get the message through.
Absolutely.
So the same thing. But you're living together, working together. has that hostile
Absolutely.
kind of background.
Yeah.
But it's going to be 25 years.
Right. Yeah.
You know, together it's about 27 years now.
Wow.
The day we met each other. So that's a long time.
Yeah. It is a long time.
And life was a lot better with her.
Yeah.
I mean, that's why it lasted that long.
Yep.
Because we were doing other things separately, but we also have this baby here.
Yep.
And let her take care of this one.
Right.
Give her the freedom.
Yeah.
You do it. This is your baby. You do it.
Yep.
And that kind of thing.
Yep.
So that then it's easier. You don't have to haggle on each little things. I do what I can. Okay, like this place. Okay, you do the softscape. I do the hardscape.
Yeah.
I do all the hardscape.
Yeah. Absolutely. Yep.
And you do that. You do the
Absolutely.
Thing. Okay. Agreed. Okay. No paperwork for me. I hate paperwork. So she does all the.
Yeah. Right. Yeah.
That is that we agreed on that. So I can do other things. So that's where I guess it helps lah.
Yeah.
When I get to do what I love.
Yeah.
There's so many things I like. I like gardening. I like handwork, anything, painting.
Yeah.
I have a mood. Sometimes I just go on this and then check a bit and then do something else.
Yeah.
Now I cannot because of the situation now. So I still miss. I miss mixing concrete.
Oh, got it. Yeah.
And doing some some wall or some stone formation or just plaster and then do some rock relief on the wall. Okay? I miss all those and then mixing the color to get the color of the real stone.
Yeah.
It's fun to me.
Right.
You know.
Yeah.
So everything is a mix of colors and flavors and taste and whatnot. So gardening, mixture of colors, leaf shapes, broad, small, height, you know, flowers, big, small, but color, leaves, certain colors. Cooking, the same thing, flavors, smell, taste, and then painting is just color.
That's poetry.
No, I mean,
No, it is.
when you think of it, that's life where you create something from whatever you live. Like perfume. Mixture of smell.
Right.
Cocktail. Mixture of flavors. Taste, sweet, sour, acidic. Cooking, same thing. Sauces. Right?
Fruits. You know it is.
You know,
I've never heard it describe or like the different analogies.
Fashion. Color, texture.
Texture.
Fabric, color, texture. Now it's material.
Absolutely.
Before it was just fabric. Now,
Right,
now it includes everything.
Right. I know.
So I guess the word life is an art, and art is life.
Oh, I'm gonna snap. But
I mean,
it's true.
Maybe you don't realize it.
I'm gonna
Stop it.
Thank you so much for
I don't know,
sharing these books
it's
for
it's a jumble up of stories, but we hardly talk about the book when it's just
but still, thank you. This has been
give a shout out to this guy.
Yes.
Gary Goldstein.
Yes. Hopefully, maybe Gary can help my love life in the future, and I'll learn something.
Well, I'll tell you what. I'll give you my email or my. What do you have a WhatsApp? Or?
I have WhatsApp. I have Line. I have email. I have
okay.
So
that if you have any dates that you want me to rate, I'll send a photo copy to you. Any potential? Let's say, Oli, can you give me a potential on this one? Yes, understand.
No, I will.
My number.
If you enjoyed today's storytelling podcast, please like it on your preferred platform. It really helps the show's visibility since I don't pay for advertisement. Share the show with family and friends and follow us on social media at Nowhere Bounded. Now, here's a bit of an update. I made it back from Langkawi to Kuala Lumpur, and instead of continuing my international journey to Cambodia, I'm flying into LAX in about a week. As much as it is a heartbreak to end my trip earlier than planned, I'm also really excited to expand into new creative projects and benefit communities back home in new ways. Next week will be my last episode of Nowhere Bounded Season 1. But I don't believe this is the end. The core of the show wasn't just an international travel trip. It was growth, storytelling, connection, and defining life in personally meaningful ways. There have been hardships, breakdowns, and breakthroughs. And next week's episode will provide more of a reflection than I will now. Until then, just know that I'm still dreaming. And hopefully, we can dream together soon, and maybe even next season. This is Jason, and you're listening to Nowhere Bounded. Safe travels.